So we're going to talk about May. This film came out in 2002, and it actually has Anna Faris in it. I think before like Anna Faris really had a presence in film.
Right, yeah. And she looks the same to this day too, by the way. She like hasn't changed since then.
Anna Faris, if you're watching this, you're beautiful. I have to go right into the opening of this film.
Yes.
The way that they like really grab the audience with this. Like, you don't know what's gonna come, and then boom. Holy shit, did she, like, her eye.
Yeah, really good acting on that part too,
that was like
right?
the next thing that I was gonna say. Like, her screaming, her other hand is like reaching out, and it's all this like quivering and shaking. It's this like surreal pain just crashing down over her body. And then we go into something that's not like a horror movie at all.
Not at all.
Like, it's quirky, it's funny, and it's kind of endearing.
It is. The great performances all around, really, by all people in the movie too. Especially the guy she's obsessed with the hands.
Oh man. Well, the first time I ever watched that movie, and the scene where they're in the cafe and he falls asleep and his hand is out, and she goes and she's just touching her face to it. I literally must have been sitting on my couch at home, like legs up on the couch, like,
it's so
this
awkward.
is a different kind of horror.
Yes.
This is like reality. Like, everything you never want to happen in your own life is happening on the screen right now.
And she's so awkward and plays it so well too. And there's kind of an irony in it all too, because all the characters she meets, they all have a quirk about them too.
They
do. The guy mentions he likes weird. Anna Faris's character ends up liking the taste of her own blood, I guess. When
oh, right, yeah.
And
that must be the conclusion in that.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but it goes to show that everyone, I guess, has a quirk and some weirdness to her. Just May has a little bit more.
Just a little bit more than
everyone else.
So I actually want to go back to that. That was a really great segue into the line where everybody says, I love weird. Because May acknowledges that she's not like everybody else and that she's just different. And when she says, I'm weird, everybody she meets says, I love weird. But see, now we're getting into something where there's two different definitions happening of what weird is, and they don't really mean it. They don't really mean it to the true extent of what weird is as it's defined.
Right.
And it's almost like this little white lie. It's like they say it in a moment of like, almost like, maybe not passion per se, but in the moment that they want May to like them.
Right. Yeah, because they recognize she's weird too, and they want to sort of, as humans, we want to just get on the level with people just to connect with them and be friends with them. And even in the one scene when they start, kissing for the first time, and she bites his lip and he starts bleeding. She's like, I thought you liked weird, or something like that, and he's like,
she's
not that
wrong.
weird.
Yeah, he's like, not that kind of weird. But
of...
it's one of those things. It's like, so May is this character who's completely like, she has this like childlike innocence, even though she is bizarre and she has these quirks that haven't really like meshed well with society as far as like social skills. Really, she's very innocent, naive. And she is not built with understanding subtleties of human communication.
Right.
Like, she's just not of this level to handle like white lies, sarcasm, meaning when people say things just to be nice. All of these little weird human practices that we do, it sort of shines a light on the fact that as human beings in this society, what we consider normal, we're fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, we do some bizarre shit that's really fucking difficult to navigate when you're talking, when you're dating, when you're meeting people for the first time, when you're making friends. Like, we do all this weird shit that doesn't make any sense.
No.
And yet May's weird because she doesn't understand it.
And when you think about her background too, just we get a little glimpse of that when she was growing up, how her mother was getting her her friend, her doll.
Her only friend.
Her only friend, which is also very sad. That was her only friend, and it's amazing what she had to do to remain, I guess, normal for society. To get to the point where she works at the veterinarian hospital. Like, how much did she have to struggle with herself to get to that point in her life, to be self-sufficient And then I guess we as a viewer see this point in her life where things just really start crumbling down.
Yeah, because she takes a risk, right? When she tries to meet people. We all take risks every time we try to reach out to somebody new. And most of us can take rejection and process it in some way. And she's like almost such a pure, naive, innocent character that she just can't handle it. So she just snaps, right?
Yeah.
So is that what we're seeing with the doll with the glass cracking?
That's an interesting point. There are some things in this movie where you wonder, is she imagining it? Is she doing these things? The glass cracking, supposedly, or at least when we saw as a viewer, was happening in the closet while she was outside of the closet. So, was
True.
she, was that, is there some supernatural element to her friend in this doll? Or is it, it's just the psychological nature of her? Is that what she's imagining? And she's the one that's like breaking, because there's one point where she hits it and it starts cracking. So maybe that's just the progress of that glass eventually shattering in one of the worst possible moments that it could shatter.
What scenario could you possibly take this whole film and its weirdness and innocence combined and elevate it to the next level? Well, let's throw in some blind kids.
Yes. She ends up, doing this daycare job where she's, with blind kids at the daycare, and she brings her friend, the doll in the glass case. And at this point, there's some cracks and things in it, but she asks the children to guess what it is. She's like, "This is my friend. Can you guess what it is?"
And like just the lack of awareness in her, of course they're not going to know what's in the
box.
case without them opening it.
Right.
But then she starts freaking out that they have to open it.
Yes.
And the
it
glass
starts
just
rattling. Oh.
shatters
All the
all
kids
over the
wanna
ground.
touch it and
you're like, oh, what just happened? And just blind little kids who are blind and they're like all over the floor.
On their hands and knees.
Hands
like,
and knees
getting
on
cut, and
broken
it's just-
glass. And it's in slow motion and there's all this horror. Oh.
Yeah.
And then May goes home and she starts rubbing her eye.
Oh.
She has glass in it.
That whole sequence of events and those scenes. I mentioned this in a prior episode, but it's rare that I shout out loud during a movie. But I'm like, no, like these kids.
Stop
then
doing
your
that.
eyes, no, stop, please. Another interesting aspect about this movie is that it can be considered a slasher film. I think in some ways because she is gonna go out and do some crazy stuff, similar to what we see in these slasher films. But what I really like about this movie, though, is we're actually seeing as reasons as to why she ends up doing what she does. Her upbringing, all these things lead up to that end scenes where she just goes out and pretty much mutilates everyone.
She's so calm too when she does it. Like once she's made up her mind that this is what she's gonna do.
Yeah.
Like her confidence comes out. She's this completely different persona. She dresses up like the doll, right? Like her friend.
Oh, yeah.
Her friend. Which nobody understands what the costume is. Yet there's people who walk by like, awesome costume.
It's Halloween.
Shut up.
Right?
You don't know what costume that is.
Exactly.
But, she's super confident and she's just bold and she knows what she's doing.
It kind of comes full circle, if you will, I guess, which is good storytelling in my book, when it comes full circle with things. I don't know if we want to go into the spoilers of that, but it's really a great way of how they tied everything together, I think.
I do too. I think that when we get to the end, it's tragic. You kind of go back to remembering that May is this kind of naive, lonely, isolated, just misunderstood human being, and all she's looking for in this world is a little bit of comfort and someone to see her for who she is.
Right.
And to accept that. And that's like a really powerful moment that she has in the film where she just wants someone to see her.
Right. She quite literally says, "See me."
Yeah.
And that's a heart-wrenching moment. As it's in the midst of all this chaos, it's just like, oh wow, that's really powerful, I think. And I don't know. I just found myself really, especially feeling sorry for her at that moment.
Yeah.
I kind of was throughout the movie, but that was like the defining moment for me. Where I'm like, wow, this is pretty powerful stuff, considering what this whole movie has put in front of us.
Yeah, we never feel bad for the victims.
You really don't.
So kudos to everybody in this cast. It's just it was a joy.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it every time I watch it. I think it's something that people should put in their collection as part of the series of movies that they watch on a regular basis,
Yeah,
like once a
totally.
year, right around Halloween kind of thing.
And it does kind of take place in the Halloween time frame too.
It does.
And I don't say this too often, but this was I think it's an extremely underrated movie that not too
Oh,
many
I
people know
agree,
about. Yeah, like, and when you discover it, it's just like, I don't know, to me as a horror film fan, it's a very charming little film that I like to check out every year. So, yeah.
A charming little film that everybody should check out. Johnny, I
Exactly.
think that's perfect.
Yes.
And with that, that's going to be the end of our review of May. So that wraps up our reviews for today. Hopefully you enjoyed our deconstruction and our look at all the films we reviewed in this episode. But if you want us to check out a film you've seen 100 times or something you think we haven't seen, go ahead and shoot it to us in an email to guttedreviews@gmail.com, and you may just see it on a future episode.